I was watching Joe Rogan on and Robert Rodriguez talk about getting fired up, about using ways to motivate yourself and how you've just got to get out there and get after it. And they break it down in several ways. But one of the things that I notice is when you get into the episode, it's freaking awesome. Some of the tips and tricks that Robert Rodriguez gives us to get off your butt. Okay. He uses the note cards. He goes over there to the UT campus with the students, the college students in different places, and motivates them, especially the film and movie, anything to do with, directing movies. And when I texted my friend after watching, because we got motivated watching Robert Rodriguez, because we enjoy his his personality, his positivity, and definitely his movies. He's a brilliant person. And so they were talking about how Robert was saying that he started out as a drawing cartoons, and he was drawing all these characters, and and he was trying to, oh my god, I got a deadline, oh my gosh. And they were like, you just got to start after it, you just got to get after it, you just got to put these cards out, and you write on them, and then you just change your life, and then your life is perfect, and and you just work hard. And I'll tell you right now, that's bullcrap. Now, for a percentage of us, that's going to work. That'll be just fine. And one of the things that I texted my friend is I said, I enjoy the Robert and Joe Rogan talking how rough their lives were growing up, freaking out on how tough they had it. Both trying to figure out how to write or how to draw their next comic was their fear. I realized there's levels to the game. Everyone has that, oh my God, thing. I'm freaking out. Yours might be this, yours might be that. And I told him that my freak out was pulling an 18-month-old with a smashed head out of a car wrecked when I was 15, when they were drawing cartoon characters. When you have over and over and over again traumatic events that happen around you all the time, when you're homeless, when you're trying to get food on the table, when your dad loses his job, his career at the Pittsburgh steel mills, and you get the house repoed, and then have to move all your stuff out, and then a few days or a week later, you get the car repoed. So you not only don't have a home, you don't have a car. Okay. And that happens to you when you're little. And then you revisit those things when you're in eighth grade, that when, or even before that, when I was like in fifth and sixth grade, when you would get Christmas presents and stuff like that. Didn't happen. And then even when I was around sixth or seventh grade, we were staying with my aunt and uncle. We moved to Waxahachie because they were trying to get into the children's home, working at a children's home. But we were living with my aunt and uncle. And for that Christmas, I got a candy bar. And when these other kids that we were around, they got crap loads of stuff. So you say, okay, well, that's materialistic. And then we went from living with them to a motel, and I had to sleep on the floor, and the roof leaked. My brother and I, he's a little older than me, and he slept next to me on the floor. My parents had the bed. It was just a one-room apartment or motel. And then we had a 72 Ford station wagon that we kind of used a little bit with all our stuff, what little stuff we had. So, yes, things did improve, and then they would go down again. Um, we did that, and we were able to. My dad got the job working at the school. He worked as a maintenance and janitor guy at one of the schools there in Waxahachie. He made a little less than $700 a month. It was like 643 a month, and his job was 40 hours a week cleaning the classrooms. My mom started losing her eyesight, so she was working at the Walmart as a cook, and then she pretty much had to, what do you call it? A little, well, she was a cook, but then she started working at that little deal inside the Walmart to help, well, that little food snack corner thingy jiggy, whatever you call that. And then when her eyesight got her, she had to quit that. So we were back in it again. So when she was waiting for her disability and stuff for her eyes, they moved back to Ozona, and that was about the time I was a senior in high school. Pretty close to that, not 100% timing, but and then they left to go back to Ozona, and I was trying to graduate high school. And then when the apartment was up for that month, and then I was living out of my Chevelle. I was supposed to stay with my middle brother, but he had a girlfriend that didn't like me, and so that didn't occur to live with him. And so I had the Chevelle until I graduated high school, and then from there I moved to Ozona to go back and try to live with my parents and try to get a roof over my head. And then my oldest brother, I was supposed to go work with him, and so I started doing some odd jobs and some gig work, and then I got into the volunteer fire department stuff. um, so not only was we were homeless when I was little, but around eighth grade I was homeless again, and then as a senior in high school I was homeless. And then you sit there and you have these rebounding occurring things. You're going, man, what's going on? Is it me? Is it me? Nah. And so I decided to work my butt off, and I started training with the firefighting and emergency services. I went to all the free training I could get. And so, yeah, you have these reoccurring things and you're wondering what the heck is going on? What is so I had, ever since I was in grade school, I was having issues with my back. It would burn, my spine would burn, stuff like that. When I looked down, if I was sitting at the desk and I looked down, I was having, or if I was in the shower trying to shower, my spine would burn when you try to wash everything. And I had, what do you call it? The dry skin on my face and my hair, and they would make fun of that and crap. And so, yeah, you wonder. And then you go on, you just keep trugging, you just keep chugging along. And so I started getting into the firefighter training and all that. Started, volunteering and volunteering and volunteering. And then I got a job at the Reese Air Force Base for a short period of time as a firefighter. And then I got into law enforcement. And then my back started giving me trouble, and more, and I was starting to have more aches and more pain. And so I had neck surgery and shoulder surgery in 2006. And the doctor said, you need to quit doing physical labor jobs. You're having issues with your spine. You need to stop that. I'm like, what? But I'm a cop. I'm a firefighter. What are you talking about? And so I decided to go to school and rock it out and, become educated more because I loved going to all the classes and the training. But apparently, physical labor was starting to dwindle down for me. And so I moved over to academia where I tried to, well, I did. I became a teacher. I tried public school first, then yeah, I did the public school when I did my master's in secondary education. I did what do you call it? Taught AP history and government, and then we moved over to private, where I tried to help out with the social studies from sixth to 12th grade at a private school, and then I taught PE from third graders up to eighth grade. That was a nightmare because that was a church school, and so at that time I started my PhD program, and then I started working at Howard College teaching political science, and then that was in 2000, summer of 2010. I did that up to, and then in November of 2010, I got hired to go to ASU to start teaching political science as an adjunct. I did both of those. I taught political science for both colleges from 2010 to 2014. At that time, I moved over to criminal justice for Angelo State and left Howard College because I was going to be full time at criminal justice. So in 2014, I did that up to 2020. And then I was let go because they wanted me to take care of my health because my health was getting worse with my neck. But at the time, it wasn't my neck necessarily. It was more of they didn't like me being a pain, but that's okay. And so I moved on, and then COVID hit, and then everything froze. At that time, we used my retirement to try to survive, and then COVID kind of wiped that out. And then the hiring freeze kind of happened because of the academia just kind of everything flatlined, right, because of economy. I mean, because of COVID. And then so I started doing some of the photography because the car groups and stuff were still kind of hanging out, and then I started doing the F1 and NASCAR and stuff for Coda. But at that time, I had to have surgery, and so and then I was waiting on disability for 2 years, I believe it was. And then I was able to get that in the April of 22, and I've been on Medicare, I believe. Let me ask Michelle, did I get approved for Medicare 2 years back? Do you remember? Yes, because it got approved in 22, but then it was retroactive, right? Okay. But anyways, okay. So I've been on Medicare since 22 because I'm well now I'm 49. So yeah. And now, when I apply for professor jobs, they're wanting to know what's up with that gap. Well, some of it's COVID, right? But then I was involved in just kind of like waiting out what, the situation with society. And here we are. So when I watched that video, when I was in good health or better health, and I was able to readjust enough to where my body was, when I changed over from being surgery, and started going to education, I did drop 126 pounds early on around 2004, kept it off for 10 years. And I had major issues with academia because I was the dude that came from the streets. I was the one that was a firefighter, a cop, a jailer, a dispatcher before that, a cadet leader with juveniles before that, and worked my way up into academia. I wasn't the person who just was spoon fed and then went into academia but never did anything in the system. All right. My colleagues would come to me when I work and they'd say, how does that work over there? What's that judge's name? What do I got to do because my student got a speeding ticket? But yet they looked down on me and gave me crap for how I worked my way up into academia. They didn't like me. There's levels. And I know my boohoo-ness or my problems with a son who has ileostomy. Oh, I probably didn't say that right. He had to have, his intestines hanging out in the front with, has the bag and everything. He's 19 years old. We've been fighting this since he was 10. And we have other health issues going around. Of course, you got me who may or may not be able to walk very good every day, but yet here we are. So I got to get my butt back in the classroom. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that. Um, Keeping up with the content, keeping up with the different research. They said publish. Well, I've been out there helping other people publish. I've been helping other people find their voices. I know that's a different realm of publishing, but when I get stepped on, I want to help other people. And so I've helped people publish children's books. I've helped people publish their poetry, their masterpieces of romance or whatever else. But it's not mine. I did publish my own book, The Ego Death of America, in October 2024. But I've had my first book that I actually helped publish was in 2015. It was more criminal justice. But I have research and publications from years and years and years, but it wasn't my main focus. My main focus was getting students to learn how to be educated, how to take, no matter what they want to get their world, what they want to get into in the world. I wanted them to be able to have the tools to be educated, to be able to handle whatever situation they went into. And I enjoy helping people. Same thing with the photography. I enjoy helping people get, to me, when you look at the camera and you're filming, or you're recording something or capturing something, you're recording history. And I enjoy that. I like capturing all that. And the higher, most, detail, the fine, minute details and all that comes with it. You can see it over there. And so, yeah, I'm very passionate. But what I was looking at was how to get through the thick and thin of when you have these people say, well, just do it. You know, when Joe Rogan says, well, I did it. Why can't you? Well, that's nice. Now you've got hundreds of millions of dollars and you've been there and done that. But if you look at it, his life was hard for him, but it was on a different level. Does that make sense? You tell me.